In a world where the mind is constantly analyzing, comparing, and evaluating, it is rare to find true presence without judgment. Yet, this is exactly what we see in the behavior of dogs. They are not burdened by the incessant chatter of thought that dominates human experience. They live in a state of pure awareness, fully immersed in the present moment. For a dog, there is no need to label or judge what is happening. The moment simply is, and they experience it fully without adding any mental narrative to it. We humans, on the other hand, are conditioned to live in a world of constant mental processing. We assess situations, people, and experiences based on our beliefs, fears, and expectations. We label things as good or bad, right or wrong, and in doing so we create an internal world of judgment that clouds our perception of reality. Our minds often seek to categorize, to understand, to control. And while this can help us navigate the world, it also disconnects us from the simplicity and richness of the present moment. Dogs, however, do not engage in this mental process. When they encounter a new situation, whether it's a person, an object, or an experience, they don't judge it, they simply respond to it. They don't ask themselves, is this good for me? Or should I be afraid? They don't analyze past experiences to predict what might happen in the future. They simply are with the situation, responding to it as it unfolds. This ability to experience life without judgment is one of the most profound lessons they can teach us. When we judge, we place a filter between ourselves and the world around us. We impose our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions on what is happening, preventing ourselves from seeing things clearly. We interpret everything through the lens of the past, bringing our fears, disappointments, and desires into the present moment. This constant mental filtering keeps us from experiencing life as it truly is, with all its beauty, complexity, and simplicity. We are not truly present, we are too busy interpreting and reacting. Dogs, however, live free from this need to judge. Their experience of the world is unfiltered, raw, and direct. They don't carry past experiences with them or worry about future outcomes. If they encounter a stranger, they don't approach with preconceived notions or fears. They simply meet the person with an open heart, ready to respond to whatever the moment holds. They live in the truth of the moment, not in the projections of the mind. This quality of presence without judgment is a powerful reminder for us to step out of the mind's constant activity and into the simplicity of the present. When we let go of judgment, we release ourselves from the limitations of the past and future. We allow ourselves to experience life as it is without the need to control, define, or label it. We can simply be with the moment, experiencing it fully just as it is. In our daily lives, it is easy to become lost in the judgments that the mind constantly generates. We judge ourselves for not being good enough, for not achieving enough, or for not measuring up to some external standard. We judge others, often without even realizing it, based on our own beliefs, fears, and expectations. This constant judgment creates a barrier between us and the world, between us and others, and most importantly, between us and ourselves. When we live in a state of judgment, we are not truly present. We are trapped in the past, reliving old stories or projecting ourselves into the future, worrying about what might happen. To live without judgment is to free ourselves from these mental chains. It doesn't mean we stop making decisions or stop discerning between different options. Rather, it means we stop labeling everything that happens as good or bad, and instead we allow life to unfold without interference. We stop measuring ourselves against an imagined ideal, and instead embrace the moment as it is, knowing that we don't need to control it or change it in any way. The practice of living without judgment requires us to become more aware of our thoughts and to observe them without becoming attached to them. It means noticing when we are making judgments and gently letting go of them. We can begin by accepting that thoughts will arise, but that we do not have to identify with them. Just as a dog doesn't judge the world around it, we can learn to simply observe our thoughts without being consumed by them. We can let go of the need to label, to define, and to control. In doing so, we tap into a deeper sense of peace and presence. We find that the world is much richer, much more vibrant, and much more alive, and we stop judging it. We open ourselves up to new experiences, to deeper connections, and to the beauty of simply being. When we stop filtering life through the lens of judgment, we begin to see it clearly as it is without distortion. And in that clarity we find freedom, joy, and a profound connection to the present moment. Dogs remind us of this simple truth. That true freedom comes not from controlling the world, but from fully embracing it as it is. When we let go of judgment, we allow life to be as it is, without resistance, and we find a sense of peace that transcends the mental chatter of the mind. Acceptance of life as it is can be one of the most powerful and transformative shifts we can make in our journey toward peace and freedom. Most of us spend a significant portion of our lives trying to change something about ourselves or our circumstances, believing that happiness and fulfillment will only come once we have the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect life. We condition ourselves to think that something is always missing, that we are incomplete or unworthy as we are. But true peace is not found in external achievements or the fulfillment of desires. It is found in the acceptance of life just as it is in this very moment. When we accept life as it is, we release the need to control or change things. This doesn't mean that we passively accept everything without taking action. It simply means that we let go of the inner struggle, the mental resistance that creates unnecessary suffering. Acceptance is about embracing reality in its fullness without the need to label it as good or bad. We stop labeling situations or people based on our judgments and expectations, and instead we simply allow them to be. When we let go of judgment, we open ourselves to the possibility of experiencing life more fully without the mental filters that limit our perception. Dogs, for example, have an innate ability to accept life as it is. They don't resist their circumstances, they simply adapt to what is happening in the moment. Whether it's a new environment, a new person, or a sudden change in routine, they accept it without hesitation. They don't analyze or overthink, they don't ask themselves if the situation is good or bad. They simply respond to it with openness and acceptance, living fully in the now. This ability to accept life as it is without resistance is something that we can all learn to cultivate. By watching how dogs respond to the world, we can begin to understand the power of acceptance in our own lives. This shift in mindset is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to a life of passivity. It is about shifting from a place of resistance and control to a place of surrender and flow. Acceptance does not mean that we stop pursuing our dreams or stop striving for improvement. It means that we approach life with a sense of trust and openness, allowing things to unfold naturally without forcing them to happen. It is about being fully present with what is, without needing it to be any different. In accepting life as it is, we unlock the power to transform our experience of reality. We no longer fight against the current of life, instead we align with it, moving with grace and ease. We begin to see that everything is part of the greater flow of existence, and that each moment, no matter how challenging, is an opportunity for growth, learning, and expansion. When we stop resisting, we create space for joy, gratitude, and peace to enter our lives. We realize that in the end, the present moment is all we ever truly have, and in that realization we find freedom. In the midst of our busy, fast-paced lives, we often forget the simplicity and joy that come from simply being in the present moment. We are conditioned to believe that happiness comes from achieving something, acquiring more, or experiencing a particular outcome. We chase after goals, possessions, and experiences, thinking that once we have them, we will finally feel content. Yet, despite all our striving, we often find ourselves yearning for more, constantly seeking the next thing to bring us fulfillment. We forget that true joy is not found in external accomplishments or possessions, but in the simple act of being fully present with what is. Dogs, in their natural state, remind us of this truth. They find immense joy in the simplest things: a walk, a game of fetch, a moment of rest. They are not waiting for something bigger or better to happen. They are completely immersed in the joy of the moment as it is. When a dog is playing with a ball, it is fully present with that ball. There is no past or future in its mind, only the joy of the now. It doesn't need anything more to feel content. It is simply delighted by the experience of being alive. This simplicity of living is something we can learn to cultivate in our own lives. We often complicate things by overthinking, overplanning, or expecting life to be a certain way. We make happiness conditional on circumstances. When I achieve this, or when I get that, we tell ourselves, then I'll be happy. But this constant focus on the future robs us of the joy that is available right now. The moment we are living in is all we ever truly have. Yet we often overlook its richness, consumed by thoughts, what's to come, or regrets about the past. When we embrace simplicity, we allow ourselves to experience life as it is, without the need to control, manipulate, or change it. We stop attaching our happiness to future outcomes and begin to see the beauty in what is right in front of us. It might be a warm cup of tea, the sound of birds outside our window, or the feeling of sunlight on our skin. These moments, though seemingly small, hold immense power when we are fully present with them. The more we practice this awareness, the more we realize that joy is not found in grand achievements or material possessions, but in the simple everyday moments of life. This shift in perspective allows us to step out of the cycle of constant striving and into a place of peace and contentment. When we are not constantly seeking something more, we free ourselves to enjoy what is already here. The key is to be present, to allow ourselves to fully experience the richness of the moment without distraction. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, to rush from one task to the next, always thinking about what's coming next. But when we pause, when we allow ourselves to truly experience the moment, we discover a deep well of joy that has always been there, waiting for us to notice it. Living simply also means letting go of expectations. Often we approach life with a specific idea of how things should unfold. We have expectations for how our day should go, how people should behave, and how we should feel. When things don't go as planned, we become frustrated, disappointed, or upset. But life is unpredictable. And when we let go of our need for control and simply accept whatever comes, we open ourselves up to the natural flow of things. We allow ourselves to experience life as it is without resistance, and in doing so, we find joy in the unexpected. Dogs embody this quality of living simply and finding joy in the moment. They are not concerned with what happened before or what will happen next. They are fully engaged in whatever they are doing right now, whether it's playing, resting, or simply being in the presence of the human. They are content with what is. There is no need for them to seek validation, approval, or external rewards. They find joy in the simple act of being. This simplicity doesn't mean that we stop working toward our goals or stop planning for the future. It means that we stop placing our happiness on what we will achieve someday and instead focus on enjoying the present. We don't need to wait for some future event to bring us happiness. Joy is available in every moment, and it's up to us to notice it. When we simplify our lives, we begin to realize that there is beauty in the ordinary, in the mundane, and in the things we often overlook. The present moment, with all of its simplicity, holds the potential for endless joy if we choose to experience it fully. When we learn to live simply and joyfully in the present, we begin to experience life in a new way. We become more attuned to the little things, the small moments that bring us peace and happiness. We stop rushing through life, and instead we savor each experience. We stop waiting for something better to come along, and instead we celebrate what is already here. This shift in mindset allows us to let go of the stress and anxiety that often accompany a life of striving and to step into a place of deep contentment and joy. In essence, true joy comes not from what we have or what we achieve, but from our ability to fully embrace the present moment just as it is. Dogs remind us that happiness does not depend on external circumstances, but on our ability to be fully present with what is happening right now. When we learn to live simply without attachment to outcomes or expectations, we unlock the joy that is always available to us in every moment. The key is to be present, to let go of the need to control, and to appreciate the beauty of life as it unfolds. Dogs offer love without any strings attached. They do not love us because we are perfect, because we meet their expectations, or because we behave in a certain way. Their love is not conditional on our behavior, our appearance, or our past. Whether we are happy, sad, successful, or struggling, a dog's love remains constant. It is given freely regardless of our actions or emotions. In their presence we experience a deep sense of being accepted just as we are, without the need for approval, validation, or change. This is the nature of unconditional love. It is freely given without expectation or demand. This unconditional love is not confined to specific moments or conditions. A dog does not wait for the perfect time to love us, nor does it love us only when we are good or deserving of love. A dog's love is constant and unwavering, no matter what happens. When we come home after a long day, a dog is there to greet us with enthusiasm, affection, and warmth. It doesn't matter if we have had a difficult day or if we have made mistakes. It loves us simply for being who we are. This is a profound lesson for us. We often tie our sense of self-worth to our achievements, our behavior, or the approval of others. But the love that a dog gives teaches us that our worth is inherent. We are worthy of love simply because we exist, not because we are perfect or meet any specific standard. This unconditional love is also mirrored in the way dogs connect with others. Dogs have a remarkable ability to connect with all beings, regardless of their differences. They do not judge based on race, background, or appearance. They approach every being with an open heart and a willingness to connect. Whether it is a human, another dog, or even an animal they have never met, dogs exude a sense of openness and acceptance that fosters connection. They do not see barriers, they simply respond to the energy of the moment, offering love and companionship without hesitation. In contrast, as humans, we often place conditions on our connections. We tend to form relationships based on what we can gain from them, whether it's companionship, status, or a sense of security. We connect with others based on shared interests, beliefs, or values, and we often find it difficult to connect with those who are different from us. But when we look at the way dogs love, we see that true connection does not depend on shared qualities or similarities. It comes from a deeper place, a recognition of the shared essence of all beings. Dogs do not judge, they simply connect from a place of love and openness. This ability to love without judgment is something we can all learn to cultivate. Just as a dog loves without reservation, we too can learn to love ourselves and others unconditionally. We can begin by letting go of the need to judge or criticize us. We are often our own harshest critics, constantly measuring our worth against unattainable standards. But true love begins with acceptance of ourselves as we are in this very moment. When we love ourselves unconditionally, we create space to love others in the same way. This love is not dependent on perfection, achievement, or approval. It is simply a deep, unwavering recognition of the worth and beauty that exists in every being. Unconditional love also means loving without expectations. Many times we enter relationships with hidden agendas, expecting others to meet our needs or fulfill certain roles in our lives. We place conditions on our love, thinking that we can only love someone if they meet our expectations or behave in a certain way. But unconditional love does not come with conditions. It is given freely without expectation of anything in return. This kind of love creates a sense of freedom both for ourselves and for others. It allows us to be fully present, to give love without any attachment to the outcome, and to receive love in the same way. The love that dogs offer is also a reminder of the importance of presence. Dogs are not concerned with the past or the future. They are fully present in the moment, and their love is a reflection of this. When a dog loves, it loves with all its heart, with no reservations or distractions. It does not hold on to past grievances or worry about what might happen in the future. It simply loves in the here and now. This deep presence in love is something that we can learn from. When we are truly present with others, when we let go of distractions and judgments, we can connect more deeply and love more fully. In the presence of unconditional love, we are reminded of our innate worth. Dogs do not love us because we meet their expectations or because we behave a certain way. They love us because we are, and in that love we find a sense of connection, belonging, and acceptance that transcends all conditions. This kind of love is not about what we do or don't do, it is about who we are, in our purest, most authentic form. When we begin to love in this way, we transform not only our relationships but also ourselves. We become more open, more accepting, and more connected to the world around us. Unconditional love and connection are the foundations of all meaningful relationships. When we let go of judgment, expectations, and the need for control, we open ourselves to the kind of love that dogs give so effortlessly. It is a love that is free, expansive, and deeply transformative. In embracing unconditional love, we embrace the truth of who we are and the connection we share with all beings. This love is always available to us, waiting to be given and received in every moment. In conclusion, the lessons we can learn from dogs about love, presence, and simplicity are profound. They remind us that true joy and fulfillment are not found in external accomplishments or the pursuit of perfection, but in the simple act of being fully present in the moment. Their unconditional love teaches us to love without judgment or expectation, to accept ourselves and others just as we are. Dogs show us that life is not about striving for some future goal, but about embracing the richness of each moment with open hearts and minds. By reconnecting with this natural state of being, we unlock a deeper sense of peace and connection to the world around us. Just as dogs live in the now, offering love and presence without hesitation, we too can choose to live with greater awareness, simplicity, and openness. In doing so, we discover that the unconditional love we seek is already within us, and by sharing it, we create a world where connection, joy, and peace are abundant. Let us embrace the present moment, love unconditionally, and approach life with the same openness and acceptance that our canine companions so effortlessly embody. In this we find the true essence of what it means to live.